That is one of the best things that you can do in your day. And you seek that knowledge, whether in the masjid or even attending like online or virtually. That is something Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would be pleased with, because of the things that you know. Seeking the knowledge, it's one of the actions that Muslims should make it every day as a habit, as a routine. And alhamdulillah, one of the things that we will be rewarded once we seek the knowledge, when you sit even for short time to seek the knowledge, to listen to the Quran, to soften your hearts by listening to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is something we need to know. It is one of the actions that Allah loves subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is encouraging and ordering us in the Quran to do and to have it as a habit. And we said we will have 4 things once we attend the gathering or the halaqah for seeking the knowledge. Number 1 is to get the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَّا نَزَلَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّكِينَةِ. Number 1, the sakina, the calmness, the peace. Allah will descend the peace upon their hearts. وَحَفَّتْهُمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. And the angels will surround them. So when you have the angels, the shayateen, the devils, will have no place. And also, وَغَشِيَتْهُمُ الرَّحْمَةِ. And the mercy of Allah will shower them. وَغَشِيَتْهُمُ الرَّحْمَةِ. That's number 3. وَذَكَرَهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي مَنْ عِنْدَهُ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to join them, is going to mention them in his group. So who are the group of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The angels, the righteous people. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the angels who are carrying the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In another narration, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will call the angels, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say to them, be witness that those people gathered for my sake, and be witness that I forgave all their sins. So it is the moment that we need to appreciate, and short time, but it has lots of rewards, inshallah. So we spoke last time about the life of Imam Malik and the qualities of Imam Malik, and we try to get closer to their life, so we will imitate them and we will take them as our models, our heroes, our examples. And not only this, we try to know and understand how much they struggled in their life, so we will come to the point that we have their knowledge easy. By just pressing a click on Google, you can find the books of Imam Shafi, the books of Imam Abu Hanifa. You can listen to lots of lectures about their madhab, but that wasn't easy like this. They struggled, they did their best, and they struggled a lot to convey that knowledge for each and every Muslim. So we made last lecture about the qualities of Imam Malik. And we said one of his qualities, that he has that fear of the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also we said that has the desire, and he stuck a lot with the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He loved the sunnah too much. And we said that he sometimes for our point of view, that he wants so extreme on that way. I told you before that he used to walk what? To walk barefooted on the streets of the Al-Madinah. Why is that? Because he does not want to put his step on a step that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stepped in. And that is, it tells you about the love of the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the love of the Prophet himself. And not only this, he was that person, he was giving, and just think about this position and that status, Allah will not allow anybody to go to or to be in except a pious person, a religious and righteous person, to give the khutbah on the minbar of Rasulullah. And not only this, to lead the salah in the masjid of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what I see the most important part, to give his lecture while he is leaning to the wall which has the grave of Rasulullah behind. So, and I told you, there is kind of prophecy, and the scholars of hadith, they said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the hadith, and he meant Imam Malik, who will come after. He said there will be a time that everyone will look for a true scholar to ask him, and people will not find anyone except Alimul Madina, the scholar of Al-Madina. And they said that is meant to be Imam Malik. So it is a prophecy from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And just for one of the issues that I wanted to highlight today, inshallah, we spoke about the scholars or the sheikhs of Imam Malik. So who was the main one? The main sheikh for Imam Malik, the one who spent with him 12 years, Ibn Hurmuz. Ibn Hurmuz, Allahu Akbar. Ibn Hurmuz, that was the main teacher for Imam Malik. And one of the things that we need to know, because lots of Muslims, wallahi, nowadays, I feel like they wanted to correct lots of things in their aqidah, in their belief, or even in the information they know about Islam. Do you know that Imam Malik, Imam Darul Hijrah, the Imam of the people of Al-Madinah, Imam Malik, the one who has madhab, he had a female teacher. not Rabia. Rabia, that was Rabi'at ibn Malik. Rabi'at al-Ra'i, that was a male one. Yes, but we didn't mention the name. Amrah bint Abd al-Rahman. Amrah bint Abd al-Rahman, that's the name of the teacher. She was his teacher, and she was the student of Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha. One of the misconceptions that we have, lots of people don't or have, they think that in Islam we do not have female scholars, which is not true. We have plenty of scholars from the females, from the sisters. They enriched our Islamic history, and they transformed the knowledge to the Muslims, and they have lots of students. You can see Sayyida Aisha was a scholar who used to teach to others. She used to teach to thousands and thousands of people. And this is one of the teachers of Imam Malik, Amra bint Abd al-Rahman. And also Amra bint al-Rahman, as we said, you can find how many very authentic and famous books of the hadith. How many of them? 6 books of the hadith. Do you know how, can you count them? Bukhari, huh? Muslim, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, Imam Ahmed, huh? One left, Ibn Majah. Allahu Akbar. We have the most authentic 6 books of the hadith: Al-Bukhari, Muslim, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nasa'i, Ibn Majah, Musnad al-Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal. 6 books of the hadith. Let me tell you the surprise here. All of them had mentioned Amra bint Abd al-Rahman, the teacher of Imam Malik. So it tells you about that issue, that we have in Islam thousands and thousands of the scholars who are females. And that tells you about that our ummah nowadays need to know some of them. So our sisters, our daughters will take them as great examples. It is not something exclusively limited for the imams or the sheikhs or the males. No, we do not have this kind of discrimination in Islam. And who was the best student for Imam Malik? Who was the best student? Al-Imam Shafi'i, without any hesitation, with no doubt that Imam Shafi'i was the best of his students. But who was the most closest student to the heart of Imam Malik? That's another surprise. His daughter. His daughter was one of the closest students for Imam Malik, because she memorized the whole of Al-Muwatta. She memorized almost how many? 3,000 hadith. And she transmitted those hadith to others. What was her name? Fatima. Fatima. And by the way, subhanallah, by the way, Imam Malik, Allah had tested him with a son. He wasn't religious. So he used to say that in his lecture. He used to wonder and say, look at my son and look at Fatima, my daughter. Both of them from the same father. One is not religious and the other one is a scholar. So his daughter Fatima, even in the absence of her father from teaching, she used to be out of shyness, out of modesty, out of chastity. She used to be behind the door. You still remember the technique of Imam Malik in teaching the hadith? What we call it? He used to ask somebody to do what? To read the hadith first. We said that he was the first one. Yes, to initiate that method, that strategy. So that is called in Islamic knowledge al-ard. Al-ard means presentation. Someone will do that presentation, will recite, will read the ahadith, and the imam should correct. So what else the fatawas. So be aware of that, because we have sensitive issues that the sisters cannot ask anyone except women. That's why they used to go to Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha. One of the ladies came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she had very private question, very sensitive question related to the affairs of women. So Sayyida Aisha grabbed her like, why are you talking this like this with Rasulullah, in these issues with Rasulullah? But she has all the right, you know, he is the Prophet of Allah. And she said that phrase, فضحتي النساء. You had exposed the women, you know, by telling that to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it is a private issue. And I just wanted to tell you something about Imam Malik. As I told you, one of the main reasons we are highlighting these issues, that we as Muslims, we want to understand the connection between the madhahib, because we think, some people think that they are separated from one another and they are different, completely different. I told you, Imam Abu Hanifa himself sent whom to learn from Imam Malik? Two of his main students. When we say, listen, in the madhab Abu Hanifa, when you say ash-shaykhan, the two sheikhs, you mean two persons. Al-Qadi Abu Yusuf and Abu al-Hasan al-Shaybani. So Imam Abu Hanifa himself had sent Al-Imam al-Shaybani to take the knowledge from Imam Malik. And not only this, to learn Al-Muwatta. Al-Imam al-Shaybani, the student of Imam Abu Hanifa, had learned Al-Muwatta. I will tell you more about Al-Muwatta. Al-Muwatta, it is the collection of the ahadith that Imam Malik had. And by the way, look at Imam al-Shafi'i. Imam al-Shafi'i said, I have never ever found the book which is more authentic after the book of Allah than Al-Muwatta. And of course, Al-Bukhari wasn't compiled at that time. In his time, he said, the most authentic book after the book of Allah is Al-Muwatta. And Imam Abu Hanifa had sent Al-Imam al-Shaybani to learn from Imam Malik and to memorize Al-Muwatta. And Imam al-Shaybani, till today, we have a very famous book. It is the comments of Imam al-Shaybani and notes of Imam al-Shaybani on Al-Muwatta itself. And Imam al-Shaybani, the student of Imam Abu Hanifa, had joined the two madhab, let's say that, the two madhab in one book. It is called the Comments on Al-Muwatta. The comments of Al-Muwatta, he put the notes of the Hanafi madhab on the margins of Al-Imam of Al-Muwatta to Al-Imam Malik. Look at the connection. So don't listen to anyone says, no, they are different than us and we are. No. The scholars themselves didn't go so extreme like we have lots of people like this. They had their flexibility and respected one another, and they loved and praised and honored one another. So Al-Imam Malik, rahimahullah, as I told you, one of his qualities that he was so tough in, defending the truth. And even with the khulafa, the caliphs, as I told you the story with Harun al-Rashid, when Harun al-Rashid asked him to teach his children Quran, he said they are no different than the rest of the children of the Ummah, bring them here. And that tells you about all the khulafa, all the caliphs who came after this, they were the students of Imam Malik. And Imam Malik, during his time, he was like an advisor for all the khulafa. He used to order them to do certain issues. And if he got upset with somebody, they used to change their behavior for Imam Malik. They respected him to the point that he could go to their palaces and change what they are doing. One day, he was invited by one of the caliphs. At that time, his name is Al-Mahdi. And Al-Mahdi basically came after Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. You remember Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, the one who put Imam Abu Hanifa in the jail, in the prison? He had issues also with Imam Malik, because Imam Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, or Khalifa Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, had put Imam Malik in the prison too. And he lashed him many lashes until his shoulder was broken because of a fatwa. That's why I told you, don't get wrecked if you, Allah protect us. If you got to hear that your imam went to the prison, okay, or to the jail, the previous imams went to the jail. So not everyone is in the jail is a criminal, okay? So at that time they were innocent. And because of a fatwa, What was this fatwa about? You know, when you force somebody to divorce his wife, so you have a gun to somebody and you tell him, divorce your wife. Is that divorce will be acceptable? Okay. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur wanted that divorce to be acceptable. And he wanted Imam Malik to change his fatwa. So he refused. Then he arrested him and he lashed him in the prison. So he got that trial too. During the time of, after Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, they had a very good Khalifa. His name is Mahdi or Al-Mahdi. Okay, not an Imam al-Mahdi that we are waiting for, but Al-Mahdi. So Al-Mahdi invited Imam Malik. So Imam Malik told him, could you please give me a cup of water? When he brought it, he found that the glass of water or the cup of water made of silver. We are talking about the Khalifa and the palace. So he went and he left the palace. So Al-Mahdi followed him. He ran after him. He said, why did you leave my palace? He said, because it was made of silver and it is haram to drink from that cup. He gave the order to change all the cups. And after that, Imam Malik came to visit him in his palace. Another Khalifa could say, you know, whatever, I don't care about your opinion or about the Sharia, but he was that person that he used to enforce his principles and integrity. I told you one of his qualities, the last quality that I spoke about last time, it was his haiba, his presence. He has the strong presence. When you look at him, you feel like you look to both a king and a scholar, a true scholar. So Imam Malik was that person. Even, you know, some people criticized him and they said, you know what, Imam Malik, because when he had a relationship with the government, he used to be paid off. They used to give him a salary. So they said, once he starts to get a salary, that means he does not work for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So who told you that? Did you examine his intention? So they started to criticize him a lot because he was paid off. And there's something happened. It seems like it is a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for his sincerity. When he started to put his muwatta to collect the hadith of Rasulullah, it took him 4 years to finish Al-Muwatta. Once he finished it, he finished Al-Muwatta. He called 70. You remember, he didn't start his fatwa till he was getting the permission from 70 scholars. He brought also 70 scholars to examine his Al-Muwatta, his book, and he didn't publish that book till they agreed upon. That's why, what is the meaning of Muwatta? Muwatta, it comes from the Arabic language, means wata'uh. Wata'ahu alayhi ahlul Madina, means they agreed upon the hadith that he collected. So that is the meaning of Muwatta. Muwatta means the book was agreed upon by the scholars of the hadith in Al-Madinah. And not only this, he had lots of people used to come even from outside Al-Madinah to examine Al-Muwatta. So he even had more than the 70 scholars afterwards. He had hundreds of scholars, they examined Al-Muwatta. And by the way, you know Imam al-Bukhari, Sahih al-Bukhari. That is the most authentic book after the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we believe that. Al-Imam al-Bukhari chose something from the book of Imam Malik al-Muwatta, and he called it as-silsilatu الذهبية, the golden chain of transmission. And he said that is the most authentic chain of transmission ever in the hadith. It is called السلسلة الذهبية. Who was in this chain of transmission? Three of the names: Malik, Imam Malik, and then Nafi', and after Nafi' you have Ibn Umar, Abdullah ibn Umar, and then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the knowledge of hadith, if you got any hadith which has this chain of transmission in it, take it as the most authentic hadith, like 1,000%, like 100%. It is the most authentic chain. That is a silsila dhahabi, the golden chain of transmission. Imam Malik, then Nafi', and after Nafi' you will find in the chain of transmission Abdullah ibn Umar. From Abdullah ibn Umar you will find Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of the what you can find so music tonight about the sincerity of Imam Malik, when he started to find al-Muwatta, to write down al-Muwatta, lots of people of hadith started to write their own Muwatta. They started to write their own Muwatta too, like Imam Malik. They started to collect the hadith. They started to bring those and those to give the permission for their Muwatta. And people came to Imam Malik and they said to him, Ya Imam, now we do not have only your Muwatta, we have lots of Muwatta. So now it seems like they are pushing him to have something about himself, to talk about himself, that he wanted to defend his book. He said, مَا كَانَ لِلَّهِ بَقِيًا. What was for Allah will remain. What was for the sake of Allah will remain. Nowadays, what remained? The Muwatta of Imam Malik. That tells you about his sincerity. All the other Muwatta didn't continue and no one wrote it down, nothing at all. But that is the Muwatta of Imam Malik that everyone knows about, and everyone is taking the hadith. You will find yourself is memorizing a hadith from Imam Malik's Muwatta. We have lots of the very common ahadith that we use in about taqwa, about Ramadan, about Salah. It is taken from Muwatta al-Imam Malik. So here's the message today. What was for the sake of Allah will remain. Ma kana lillahi baqiya. So Imam Malik stayed in al-Madinah. As we said, he was born in 93. And when did he die? 179. He lived 86 years, and during that time he continued conveying the message of Allah, learning and teaching the hadith of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and establishing his madhab in al-fiqh, and has many students, many of his students, and they used to come from all over countries. They used to come to learn from Imam Malik in al-Madinah. And even the khulafa, the presidents, the amirs, the princes, they used to come to learn from his ahadith, especially during the season of Hajj. They used to stop by al-Madinah. They used to spend time with Imam Malik and go. But he has the most number of his students were from 3 countries. The first number was, or the highest number was, from Egypt, the students of Egypt. And number 2, the Iraqis, those who came from Iraq. And number 3, those who came from Al-Maghrib, from Morocco. And subhanallah, nowadays, you can find the most people adhere to Madhab al-Imam Malik, the Moroccan people. So even in Iraq or Egypt, it's rarely you can find a person who is following the Madhab of Imam Malik. But in Morocco, you will find, rarely you can find a person who does not follow Imam Malik's Madhab. Subhanallah. So Imam Malik, as I told you, has Imam Shafi'i. How many years Imam Shafi'i stayed learning from Imam Malik? Because we are going to talk about Imam Shafi'i next time, inshallah. 6 years. He stayed 6 years learning from Imam Malik. And subhanallah, as I told you, he had some problems with the issues with the Khulafa, like Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. You know, one day Abu Ja'far al-Mansur didn't like something. Subhanallah. Those people who have the power and the position, they thought that they can use their power and their position even in the masajid. Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, when he was a Khalifa, he got angry of something. So he entered the masjid of Rasulullah, Masjid al-Nabawi, and he started to shout, scream and yell at somebody. Who was there? Imam Malik. So Imam Malik went to him and he started to talk very sharp with Abu Ja'far. Ja'far is the president. And he said, do not scream and yell in the presence of Rasulullah. And he started to recite the verses that we recited in Al-Maghrib Salah. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, la tarfa'u aswatakum fawqa sawti an-nabi. Do not raise your voice over the voice of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Think about Abu Ja'far al-Mansur. He thought because he is the Khalifa that he can do whatever he wants even in the house of Allah. That's why we tell the message to each and every one. Forget your position, your power, your money. Forget everything. When you come to the masjid of Allah, it's not your masjid. It's not anyone's masjid. Allah said in Surah Al-Jinn, وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ. The masajid are for Allah, are the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some people, wallahi, and that is one of the calamities that we have nowadays. We have people, they think that they can control the masajid by their money. You know, since I'm paying, so I have the authority to control the masajid. Imam Malik wanted to teach him, al-masajidu lillah. You are not talking about an office or a company or something. That is not yours. That is the house of Allah. And you know, some people, I had one of the helpers. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. Allahumma ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah extend his life. Allahumma ameen. He was a very good person, dedicated to the masjid, cleaning the masjid very well. And the smell, mashallah, beautiful. I stayed like 9 years. 9 years in that masjid. But he has something, you know, subhanallah. No one is perfect. No one is 100%. We are human beings. So if someone did something wrong, he used to throw the keys of the masjid and tell me, I will not come to this masjid. I will not be here again. His name is Noor. Yeah, his name is like light, Noor. So I used to tell him, do you think, oh Allah, do you think that Allah will leave his masjid without being served? Do you think that, as we say, the boat will be sank, without you? No. That is the house of Allah. With me or without me, with you or without you, Allah will send somebody to serve his house. We are servants. Subhanallah. Say the mother of Sayyidah Maryam, why she wanted to have a son? To serve the chamber of the place of worship. She found that is the honor to serve the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when you have people like guests in the masjid, it is kind of following the sunnah of Rasulullah to serve them. They are your guests. As long as you are responsible of the masjid, they are your guests, and you are the one who has to serve them. They are the guests in the masjid, and you have to serve them. That is the sunnah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whenever he comes to any, gathering, he used to serve each and every one first. That's Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, man yudayif duyuf Allah. Yes, who has the honor to honor the guests of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is something very great. Just before we finish our lecture today, Imam Malik, when he reached to that age, 86, he lived long teaching the hadith, has many students, alhamdulillah. In the night of Safar, the night or the day 14 of Safar, the Hijri month, he got sick 21 days before the 14th of Safar, and he passed away in this night, the 14th of Safar, 179 Hijri. And his last word was Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. That was his last statement. And as we know, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man kana akhiru kalamihi la ilaha illallah, dakhala al-jannah." He who was his last statement was la ilaha illallah, he will be in Jannah. And he passed away, rahimahullah. That is Imam Malik. He enriched our Islamic history. He gave us lots of students who transmitted the knowledge. He loved Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam so much. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us as the same steps of Imam Malik. Keep us to follow the same steps of Imam Malik. Allahumma ameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen. You know what is so beautiful about these sessions? When you hear about Imam Abu Hanifa, you say to yourself, I want it to be like Imam Abu Hanifa. When you hear about Imam Malik, I want it to be like Imam Malik. And inshallah, now you are Malikis, okay? Inshallah, next time you will be turned to be Shafi'is, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of us. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.